primitive state of awareness, is any of that going to help us? No, but when a ship comes down and does something, it'll have everybody's attention, and it will wake everybody up. So, I want to change the whole way I'm going, because everybody thinks they're free to do what they want. I talked about that last week. We're not. God only grants those beings more freedom when they become totally aware and respect themselves as soul, and at that point, they don't need the body. So, yeah, totally aware in this planet, in this world, of what? That you're going to die. And if you're not aware of that, you don't know nothing. So, freedom is a delusional word which is being overused, the same as love is. All right. I'm going to go into the title, Jesus, which I know people might turn away from, and that's your choice. Jesus was a man, not a god, not an alien. But you could accept the Pope as being this powerful person speaking about ignorance in his own brain. I'd say it to his face. I'd debate him to his face any split second I had a chance. I would go to his country even. But you put somebody like Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra with the Dalai Lama and the Pope, put them all together. See what kind of mumbo-jumbo bull you're going to get. A lot. New Age people I call egotistical people. Moses was a magician. He wasn't. His ego was powerful because he wrote so much, and then he wanted people to believe it. But he did have that power over them. Why? And people say, "Oh, my hand's stole, so I have to cut my hand off." Do you believe that's the right way? All his things, I mean, as far as clothes and nakedness, and he goes on and on and on. And didn't even know what he was teaching. So yeah, just like Paul has this vision, and he comes out and starts teaching. On the other hand, Peter, right next to the most spiritual person that walked this planet, doesn't understand what he's talking about. How could you, if Jesus was talking about love, all right, what would be so hard to understand about it, even with a few words? How could Peter not understand it? I mean, that's all in the Bible. It's written there straight out. So how could Peter not understand if Jesus was teaching love? Because Jesus wasn't teaching love. I mean, they saw it because he married Mary Magdalene and had a daughter, but I mean, they saw that and how they reacted with each other. And then after Jesus was killed, how Mary was the spiritual being that Jesus was. And that's when Peter suddenly realized he had to listen and understand what she was saying. And by her own action, she proved it. Again, you can't talk about something you can't prove to somebody or have them experience and then expect them to accept it. When Jesus was killed, they all said, "Our lives are over," period. They didn't think there was anything going to go any further than that. They still didn't understand what he meant by coming back. Eternal life. They didn't know that. Eternal life. What does it mean? Oh, that person died and they got buried. That person died, they got buried. But eternal life? We don't die? How do you prove it? You die and you come back. And show them. He was one of the few people that did that and created the awareness of that. So the Egyptians talked about reincarnation. They didn't understand it. They thought they'd come back in that body. They preserved it to make the best they can to hold on, make it hold on, and thought it would just come back to life. Really? The programming that aliens gave the human race is pathetic as well. So, the difference between, and here's why. I became aware of multiple lifetimes from the beginning of time on this planet, when Atlantis first got created, when it became the most incredible place to be in the universe. And it was there. I was there then. And it was. There will never be another time in the time frame of planet Earth that will be like that. I got my little gizmo scratching at my door, and he's making a lot of noise. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm sure you can. But it was intense, incredible. Hold on. Let me just let him in. The thing is, he's going to start barking. So, when Jesus allowed people to hear him, well, somebody just said how clean the air was in that time frame. Yeah, it was clean, incredibly clean. So was the water. So was the fish they ate. I mean, everything was healthy in those days. You know, and people talk about cures, and then now the new thing, the Bible talks about the cures for the body, makes us live forever and all that. But you have to look at the time frame of the different time frames, like you said. The water was clean. The air was clean. The dirt was incredible because it put minerals and vitamins into plants that grew within it, which it doesn't do anymore. So, but that was a long time ago, and we destroyed all that to the best of our abilities. So, getting back to, I'm aware of all my lifetimes. Most of them were just humdrum lifetimes. It's funny that I went from Atlantis, but I was coming back to this planet because I didn't know how to leave it yet. And this planet was still a disaster. Now we had different races, not just the Anunnaki, but we had the Draconians, Reptilians, and all those other races and Greys. They were all here, playing with us and giving us ignorant feedback and rules and regulations. But then we also had, I don't know the reactions of the deities, because I work with deities, and it's so different. It's not like working with a person. So the deities were working with the first religion on this planet as well. But there was so much sex, which has never died since. Atlantis, it wasn't like that. After Atlantis went down, then the aliens started having sex with humans. I mean, even the giants were having sex with the little people. And that's how it started. The Book of Enoch. Read it. I mean, go back to that time frame. People don't want to hear the truth. They want to block it out. But that's what happened. And it became what it is. And then lives after that, it was so hard to get back. Because now you're dealing with that sex thing. And then, it's like the number one thing in all men for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So now, how do we move forward? Jesus taught love and compassion and took away people's... No, not at all. People didn't become loving, compassionate. If Jesus was teaching love and his followers understood that and said, okay, it's love, do you think they would have participated in killing Jesus? Which they did. So don't say that. Don't even believe it. Scratch it out of your memory because it's a lie. And let's not blame Judas, if you know anything about the Bible, as the one that turned Jesus in. Jesus said to him, you got to go do this for me. He didn't want to do it, but he would do anything Jesus told him. The old saying, when you jump off a bridge if I told you, he would, and he did. So he did what he was told. He knew it was right. After the action was done, he never believed it was right, because now the greatest spiritual person to walk this planet is dead. And how do you live with that? Well, I'm the one that did it. Well, he paid his dues both ways. He wasn't an evil person, didn't become an evil person, he didn't go to hell, he didn't become a demon or any of that stuff. No. Jesus idolized him in a way that he was one of the most important followers, or one of his most important prophets that were around him. Sadly, he broke down because of that, but he trusted him to do what he desired, and he did. Now, when we talk about the other disciples that were learning about love, when it came time to kill Jesus, they all turned Jesus in and let it happen, let him die. And what did they do? I mean, I was there. It was sad to deal with a murderer over a spiritual person and to let the murderer go. What's sick? It's just as sick as it is today. They care more about the prisoners and what they eat and how they live inside prison than the people that get abused, killed, raped, and everything else. Why is that? Tell me. I don't understand it. And I came back to this world to figure that out. I mean, I learned what it is now, but to me, it's pathetic. I mean, the human race, has deteriorated at every level. And you see it in every action that they're doing now. And that's scary. Do people know the truth? Do they want the truth? How to be a good person? How not to be a bad person? No. That would contradict their truth, that they're free, they can do whatever they want, and they're spiritual. When I was doing exorcisms and you see a demon and you work with that, you'll open your eyes. Watch The Exorcist. Even the second one was just as bad as the first one. I mean, the first one, when it came out, was scary, shocking, and everything because people never even knew what it was. And that it was supposed to be real. But how much that was swept under the rug and still is to this day. I mean, yeah, they put a scary movie out, but they make the story completely ridiculous. So wow, that's an incredible story. Yeah, so that it's so ridiculous that it's just a story. When I was a child, 18, I'll never forget this. One girl came to his house and asked him for an exorcism. And we're sitting upstairs, and she goes, "Here, listen to me. This is me talking." And she talked from like 5 different demon voices and everything else. I said, "Okay, I'll work with you. Come downstairs with me." And he had a pentagram and everything else. He was a high witch at one time as well as I was. And he said, "Come downstairs." And she goes, "I can't go downstairs." He goes, "If you don't go downstairs, I'm not going to work with you." She says, "Well, I can't go down there." And he just threw her straight out of the house instantly. You know, when you're dealing with demons, it's a lot different than dealing with the average person, obviously. But they're super afraid of certain things. But they're not afraid of everything. They're not afraid of a word, like the word Jesus. They're not afraid of a book because it's the Bible. So when priests and all these people try to do exorcisms, where do they get their energy from? Nowhere. Why does it take so long to do it? Because they're dealing with their weakness in their own belief in their own God. So there's many ways we can go about what's happening, and possession's one of them, a really big one. But I don't blame Lucifer. Everybody else says, Lucifer, it's the demons of Lucifer. No, Lucifer's one being. He's the king. He's the king of the astral plane. He makes more decisions than anybody else because he keeps everybody here. But they already sold themselves out to be here and stay here. And every bad action you give into that just gives Lucifer more power and makes him happy. And God allows him to stay there. Because if you're too ignorant to go past him, there's no way you're going to deal with the higher realms. You got to go past 5 gods from the physical world to the soul plane. And at some level you do it. You might not totally be aware of it or how you do it. But it's actually who and what you are that's going to be able to do it. It's not like I could write this password on a piece of paper and hand it to you so that you can go past the God of the third world. No, that's not how it works. I mean, at first I thought it was that easy. No, it's not. It's called raising your vibration. Not the I'm higher vibration. No, you're not. Just for the fact that you said you had to do it and you can do it means you're lying. I mean, like in the Bible when God says, "I am that I am." But you are what you are no matter what you say, think, or do. And obviously the things you do within that determine who and what you really are. So